Econorisk was founded in 2001 as a proudly South African business through a strategic partnership with economic market analyst leaders, Econometrix. It is also a subsidiary of South African investment holding company Cyan Capital, with its wide array of investments in the local short-term insurance industry. This kind of parentage, underpinned by an incredible work ethic and some of the best skills in the industry, meant it didn't take long for Econorisk to emerge as one of the South Africa's leading risk and short-term insurance advisory businesses. One of the recent developments at Econorisk is the launch of the broker partner model. And today I'm speaking to Matthew van den Heuvel, joint CEO at Econorisk, about the company and more specifically, the broker partner model. Hi Matthew, it's great to connect.
Thanks, Rianet. Thanks for having me.
Before we start, I think it's apt to mention that Econorisk turns 21 this year. So congratulations on that. It's quite a big milestone. Maybe you can share a few highlights of Econorisk's 21-year history.
Yeah, look, it's obviously from our business perspective, it is a great milestone. I think for any business to reach 21, it shows that the business has endured the ups and the downs. If you look at when the business was formed in 2001 to where the world is today in 2022, it's a fairly different place. I think what Econorisk has maintained is that it was formed on the ethos of client service. So when the business was founded, that was one of the biggest elements in terms of servicing clients, and that's something that we still live to today. Yes, the business has changed a lot. So as you mentioned, Cyan Capital bought into the group in 2011. We're very fortunate to buy the business. And yeah, over the last sort of 11, 12 years, we've amalgamated and done a few sort of acquisitions over the years where we've consolidated all of those investments into one place, being Econorisk, and we're immensely proud of the business that stands today at 21 years old. We feel we are a formidable risk and advisory business operating in the South African landscape. We're over 110 people now, operating in branches. Our headquarters are in Johannesburg. We have offices in Cape Town, and then we have satellite offices in Durban and Limpopo, and we're looking at growing that fairly significantly. So yeah, it's been a good journey. As I said, we're very fortunate to have invested in the business 11 years ago, and yeah, we're going from strength to strength, and we're looking forward to the next 21 years.
Yes, that's great. We live in interesting times. What do you believe, talking about brokers, are the biggest challenges that brokers face these days, because they are rife indeed?
Yeah, look, I think from a brokerage perspective, I think the first thing is that we're not immune to what's going on around us. I think the South African economy is fairly tough at the moment. Obviously, as a broker, we would hope for higher economic growth than what we're seeing. Sort of at the 1.5 to 2%. It means that we're operating in a very competitive and tough environment. We would obviously prefer to see an economy growing at the sort of 5 to 6% where South Africa's potential sits, because then you're having clients that are growing, and we want to grow with our clients, where they're increasing their asset bases, increasing their exposures. So I think number one is, one of the challenges that we're all facing is that it's a very tough economic landscape. I think there's also a very tough geopolitical, global issues that we all confronted with. I think this war currently going on in the Ukraine has impacted all of us, and I don't think anybody is immune to it. So I think we operate within the South African environment, and we certainly are impacted by the economic landscape. As a specific to a broker, the broking world has changed a lot over the last, I would probably say, the last 10 years since we've invested. I think as FSPs, as you know, we're regulated entities. And regulation has, for the last 5 to 7 years, has been sort of coming at us on a regular basis. And our ability to sort of execute and implement that regulation, it does put pressure on a business like ours, and I'm sure all brokerages feel the same way. It just means that I think the costs of running a brokerage have gone up a lot. So I think all brokers are facing the pressures of the increased cost of running a broker. And our biggest cost is our people. So as regulation comes to us, it means that we have to keep investing in people to adhere to that regulation. So I think that's also a big thing that's impacted us. And then the other thing that has impacted business like ours is that we operate in the binding and outsource space, where we fulfill certain functions on behalf of insurers. And the requirements to be able to have those agreements in place with insurers has increased a lot. Again, it talks to our costs of adhering to those requirements from a people perspective, but also from a technology perspective. There is a increasing requirement to have access to data on a real-time basis. And it means that the cost of us from a technology perspective has increased substantially over the last 2 to 3 years. So I think it is a tough space. The flip side is that I think what's happening is that it is going to drive a lot of consolidation in our space, because a lot of your smaller businesses just simply cannot afford to implement the costs that are coming at them. So the natural benefactors are unfortunately, it isn't. What happens is that your bigger businesses are the ones that can capitalize on the consolidation. So I think it talks to a lot of what we'll speak about today. But I think a lot of businesses are now looking for different operating models to adhere to the requirements that come at businesses like ourselves, which are almost coming at us weekly in terms of all the different requirements to operate.
Yeah. I actually wanted to touch on the really small broker, because I do believe they still exist and they have a place, but surviving in the model that we are operating in now is extremely difficult. So talking about the challenges and the times that we live in, maybe this is a good time for you to share more with me what the broker partner model is all about.
Yeah, so what we saw, we actually launched this model in 2016, and what we saw is with this increased compliance, with the increase from a people side and just cost of running a business, is that there's an alternative operating model was required for smaller businesses to be able to, and I think you're 100% right, is that the operating environments in the short-term space does need smaller brokerages. They play such a pivotal role in our industry, and from our perspective, those businesses need to exist. But I think what's happened is because the cost of running these businesses has changed so much that they need to coexist, and our model really allows them to fulfill their need in the operating landscape, but to operate off a different model where Econorisk, our broker partner model, allows a smaller brokerage to plug into our infrastructure, where we provide all the back-end elements of insurance to them, and they can continue to do what smaller brokerages thrive on is ultimately growing their books and being out there, being hungry, and finding new business, and then also to be able to retain those clients and not being pulled back by the burden of adhering to all the regulations. So it's a necessity to operate, and we feel our model effectively allows those businesses to continue operating, but we fulfill all the functions in the back-end administrative elements that allows them to continue to operate. So it's a hybrid model. It's not an acquisition model, and it's not an administrative model. It really is like-minded people plugging into our infrastructure, and we provide all the back-end side of it. So it starts at underwriting, claims, financial reporting, and then also the other elements of compliance, of training, and also from a PI, professional indemnity insurance. So all of that is taken care of by Econorisk and allows them to continue to operate and do ultimately what they're best at, which is selling and writing new policies and then retaining those clients. So it is a hybrid model, and it's something that we feel gives a great solution to those businesses. And I think also what's very important is they retain ownership of those books of businesses on our license.
It is absolutely a fantastic model, because the brokers want to sell. They don't want to be burdened down by all the admin and regulatory. So it is definitely a great model. So basically, they keep their name, they keep their contracts. Yes?
No, look, so they from a license perspective, it moves on to our license. So I think that's very important. They retain their own legal entity, but there's no longer a requirement for them to be an FSP. We provide all of that. So it's effectively an Econorisk policy powered by Econorisk, and they then retain their own independence as a named entity. But ultimately, all the compliance elements is on a Econorisk perspective. It's just not feasible to have multiple different. It's one FSP. They move all of their clients onto our license. We go through the process in terms of from a legal perspective, making sure that those clients are aware of the change of brokerage. But it's on our license. And off the back of that, it's our underwriting, our claims, our compliance, our PI, our technology from a reporting perspective. And I think the other very, very important element is its access to our agencies with our insurers. So we ultimately have the contract with the insurance companies, and the relationship between the insurer is with the Econorisk, and the client ultimately becomes an Econorisk client, but in terms of the legal contract, the broker partner still has legal right to those clients.
And do you therefore have contracts with every and all insurers and UMAs? If they have a contract and business with an insurer or a UMA that you don't have with, how does that work?
We will effectively do a due diligence of the client portfolio, and ultimately for the model to make sense, it has to move into where our relationships with our insurers sit. So 80% of the business will sit with our sort of four main underwriters, where we have bind and outsource arrangements with those insurers. And then the other policies, we do have access to all the different niche and liability type markets, and we will facilitate it. But the crux of the model is to go into our bind and outsource insurers, where we have an option of four, which we feel in the commercial perspective and in the personal line space, that's enough choice. It retains the independence in terms of giving multiple underwriters for a client to choose from, but we can't offer the entire market to everybody, because ultimately your efficiencies then you lose it. Yes, we do have access to the entire market, but our broker partner model is more for your commercial and personal lines side where it sits there. We do have a corporate business where we place with the specialist lines, but to get the efficiencies that one wants, it needs to go into those 3 to 4 insurers that we have chosen.
Okay, I think that was quite a good feedback there. In terms of costs, can you share anything, or is that a different conversation altogether?
Yeah, look, that is a conversation that we have with each broker partner. So we have numerous brokers on this model now, but that's an engagement that we have with each broker partner depending on what their needs are. But the crux of the model is that the bulk of the broking income goes back to the broker partner, and we then retain a portion, which obviously covers our costs to effectively be able to offer the services that we do.
Okay. What are the requirements to be part of this model? Can anyone join?
Look, it is open to anybody to join. We do obviously meet with all our broker partners, because a key element for us is it is like-minded people that want to be part of our organization, that want to interact and have the same ethos and same sort of ambitions that we want to do in terms of doing insurance properly. I think it's a very, very key element is that we are a regulated business, and therefore we operate in a regulated manner. So there's a like-minded thinking in terms of the way insurance is done, or way a policy is underwritten. We're not a price brokerage. We really make sure that our clients have the correct cover at the right cost. It's a very, very key element for us. So it's really like-minded people that want to be part of our organization. But yes, it is open to all, from a smaller business to a medium, even to a large broker. We have large businesses, we have smaller. It's really somebody who has an FSP, who operates in the short-term space, who wants to grow their business, but feels that they are being hamstrung by trying to fulfill the needs from a back-end perspective, where they're not doing ultimately what they want to do, which is being in front of clients and growing their business. We have access to, in our opinion, the best markets in the country. We have access to the best underwriting team, claims team. We've got great technology. We're well insured, we're well capitalized. So it's somebody really who wants to join a growing business where we still are entrepreneurial. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but we are entrepreneurial, but we're a professionalized business, great access to a variety of markets. And we have an incredible team of people to support, from underwriting to claims, to finance, to compliance, to fulfill the training, CPD elements. And as I said, you're also very well insured from a professional indemnity perspective. So yeah, it's really somebody who's excited about short-term insurance as what we are, who wants to grow their business, but feels that they're being held back by fulfilling the more serious side of a brokerage, and rather let us take care of that, and then that person can grow their business around the country.
I'm making a guess that a lot of the smaller brokerages are more of the older brokers. Not sure if I am correct or incorrect. And those are people that normally are not necessarily keen on change. Your comment on that statement?
Yeah, look, I mean, we're fortunate that we've got a wide variety of broker partners on our books, from young, someone who started up a smaller business who's now growing very aggressively, to some that are maybe a little bit more mature where they are in their lifestyle. So yes, change is something that isn't necessarily the easiest thing to deal with, but I suppose what the last 2 years has taught us is that we're all adaptable. We can all cope with change. And I think you raised an important point that our model also will result in natural succession. So a lot of those older brokerages, what you're referring to now, succession isn't necessarily in place. And we believe that our model can provide a natural succession element where we have younger broker partners that can then fulfill that ability to effectively migrate and take over that book of business from somebody who's looking at exiting or looking at different options for themselves. So we think that our model is a natural, creates natural succession within our ecosystem, rather than somebody just going today and selling to someone down the road where they don't know them and there's no relationship. Once someone's been on our model for a period of time, it's obviously a lot safer place to hand your business over, because our back-end support and our people have been supporting that business for a number of years. Plus, there's a relationship with whoever's going to come in and take that business over. So yeah, changes. Nobody ever wants change, and I'm sure we would all want to just own our business forever. But as I said, I mean, if you look at, it was almost 2 years ago to the day that life changed fundamentally for a lot of us, and we were all adaptable. We were all working at home within a week. It happened, and I suppose it just shows you how adaptable we are. What can one do rather than see a solution that is there, it's available, it's working, it's operating. And as I said, we feel that we've got best access to all the different pieces, and rather come to a safe, nice place to effectively have your business to take it to the future.
The model makes 100% sense. And my next comment would have been around the succession planning indeed, because it's not always something everyone thinks of, or you just naturally don't have someone, and then the process of making sure your clients are looked after. So in your model, that is a no-brainer. It's a very easy process.
Yeah.
Any last words for anyone who think that this might be a good move, and then also for FAnews short-term brokers in general?
Look, I think for us, it's something we've worked really hard on in creating we feel a genuinely lack of place for people to work. And we have like-minded people in our organization where, as I said, it's the business is still entrepreneurial, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. Yes, we take the serious side of insurance very seriously, but we genuinely believe we have a nice place for people to work. And I think the worst thing that could happen in our industry is that those businesses that have been around for a long time, that they cease to exist. So rather come and have a conversation with us and say, well, let me rather plug into an environment where, yes, there is change. We can't escape the change, but it's changed in a very managed way, and it's something where it creates sustainability for a business. And ultimately, access to the best insurance markets is getting harder, and we've got access to those markets, and we have significant business with each of the major players in South Africa. We're a national broker to the key markets in South Africa, so we give great access to markets where a client will have access to the best insurance products, well underwritten, and not just from a price perspective, but insurance really done properly. And we think it's a good brand to be associated with. So yeah, come and chat to us. We're open to no matter what size a broker is, and let's have a conversation. But we open for anybody to come and have a conversation with us, and we're very keen to grow our model. And it's not just in the areas that I mentioned. We can operate. We have policyholders throughout the country, from north, east, south, west. We have access, and also I suppose what the modern world has meant is that people can operate from anywhere. We're not fussed by that. We're not an 8 to 5 type business, and ultimately, broker partners who join us, it's their business, and they can operate it as they see fit. Just from our perspective, there's obviously an SLA both ways. So there's an SLA in terms of what we have to provide to the broker partners, and similarly, there's an SLA what we expect from a broker to meet phase and to operate their business in a proper way. So yeah, it's a fun, energetic place to join, and we're keen to meet people who want to join us as a like-minded organization who wants to grow in this South African environment.
If I'm correct or not correct. Knox Dlamini, a previous winner of the Insurance Apprentice, comes from Econorisk and started her business with you guys, hey?
Yes. So Knox is a broker partner of ours.
That's right.
And yeah, she, we're holding her hand in terms of growing her business, and we hope that she will take her business to the heights that it can certainly achieve. And ultimately, she was able to start her business on day one, knowing that she had access to the markets, to the underwriting, to the claims side, and we have people that care deeply about their job, so that can walk someone through all the different elements of whether it's a new policy or renewal from an underwriting area or from a claims perspective, managing and assisting in a very simple glass claim to a very complicated corporate claim. We had to provide all those services.
Yeah, and Knox is speaking to an important audience, so it's great. Matthew, it was fantastic to connect and to chat and to hear more about the broker model partner, which for me makes 100% sense. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Rianet. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.